Good morning, everyone, and I hope you're doing well during the lockdown. As I was writing out my thoughts this morning, I was looking out the window of my study, and the Silver Creek Coffee Shop has actually opened one of their side windows. Their front door is locked, but their side window is open and acting as a makeshift walk-through. And there are a lot of people who like Silver Creek coffee. They are doing quite a lot of business over there. But what I'm finding myself thinking is when the people are, putting their hand on the window frame and leaning in, it's a thought of the day. Gosh, I hope they wash their hands before they have a drink. In other news, I had mentioned last week that our son Austin had been injured down where he was living. And on Wednesday, he was released from the hospital into our care and has been living with us since Wednesday afternoon. It's been an interesting couple of days. For one thing, the bedroom is on the upper floor, but for certain things he wants to do, he's got to be down on the main floor. And right now, as his broken leg mends, it's a slow and painful journey, both down and then back up. Add into that his struggles with addiction and the lifestyle that surrounds addiction, and you'll understand that the road has had some waves in it so far. We found ourselves praying a prayer repeatedly that is said around the world repeatedly by millions of people, millions of times a day. And no, I'm not talking about the Lord's Prayer. At some point in the early 1930s, an American theologian by the name of Reinhold Niebuhr wrote a short prayer that went like this: Father, give us courage to change what must be altered, serenity to accept what cannot be helped, and the insight to know the one from the other. Niebuhr prayed this prayer and variations of this prayer for years, and he became known for it. It was itself a variation of many older prayers and older thoughts that had been written down over the course of the past 2,000 years, but never quite as concisely. And if you're thinking, but Steve, you've got the order wrong and the words wrong. Well, in 1941, Bill Wilson, the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, was shown an obituary that had quoted this prayer. And he'd said he'd never seen so much of what AA was trying to do for people crammed into so few words. And so with a quick reordering of the phrases, we have the most common variation of it in English. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. These are good words to know and to have in our minds and our hearts as we face this pandemic and all the events and fear around it. People are afraid of getting sick. People are afraid of dying. Yes, the majority of those who are in real danger are elderly or have pre-existing conditions that make them more susceptible. But the news is carrying stories of people in their 30s or 40s that are dying, even their 50s. They're dying with COVID-19 complications. And well, what can we do? Well, we can create barriers, a 2-meter distance between us. And for some, there are gloves and masks and goggles. And the big thing they're telling us is stay home if you can. It may drive you stir crazy, but for another couple of weeks at least, that seems how this is going to go. In times of distress, I've turned before to the words of Psalm 46, and I'm going to read them to you now. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress." I hope you're finding some measure of peace and time to take with yourself and be introspective and take time with prayer, take time with God, and with those hobbies that you've been perhaps saving up for a while. I saw something once, a couple days ago. Someone was saying to a friend, "So what are you doing during the lockdown?" "Well, I'm getting to all those crafting projects that I've always wanted to try." "Oh, well, what'll happen if you run out?" And the person just laughs maniacally, because if you're a crafter, you've been saving up for a very long time. But whatever you're doing, I pray that you will have serenity and peace during this time. And the prayer I'm going to pray now is a variation of the prayer that Niebuhr wrote in 1951. It's a little longer. It expands on the initial ideas, and then there are some additional words. So pray with me if you will. God, give me grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, courage to change the things that should be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish the one from the other. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. God bless, and I will be recording the next meditation on Sunday. Because church services are theoretically a low priority item, we will probably not be live casting as we have in the past. We will be recording and will be loaded as soon as we can following the service. But I hope and pray that God is with you all, and may you be with each other through the phone, through the internet, and however you may connect. God bless. Bye now.